At what point did you know you just had it and you had to keep going?
When I woke up.
This morning, what'd you think?
Let's get it.
Yeah. Shout out to Zora. Don't stand up.
Clock in. Clock in.
Grussle, I grind and I hustle.
There's more to come as far as football.
Yeah, we're coming back.
Episode 98. Clocking the podcast. Let's get it.
I'm clocking. Yeah. You ready?
Yeah. Nico in the building. What's good?
Yeah.
Audio Sensations brought to you by
Grussle, I grind and I hustle.
Shout out to Grussle.
Here with my brothers again, I just want to say I'm glad, I'm happy, and I'm blessed.
Amen.
Yeah, we got a good
Here
one.
we are.
Got a good one for y'all, man.
Got a little new growth, you know what I'm saying? Sure, 2023 is my year with this beer connection shit.
Sure, it's good. Episode.
Hey man, once again, you a fool for that one, man.
Yes, sir.
This keeps getting better and better. It's getting better and better. But look, episode 98, co-host here, Marshall Hamilton, the Clock in the Podcast.
Co-host Austin Hamilton here. And we're here, man. We clocking in today.
You already know.
98 episodes.
Clock in.
Again, we appreciate y'all for supporting. I feel like we're getting some new listeners, man. I've had a number of people like say, "Hey, man, I listened to the episode last week that haven't really tapped in." So
Right.
appreciate the newcomers.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate people that have been riding with us for all 98. Yeah, man, we gonna keep it going.
Shout out to our sister Maria. She was born in '98, so shout out to Maria.
Okay, yeah.
Born in '98.
Getting old, man.
Yeah, she what 20? She's about to be 25. That's crazy.
No, she is 25, right?
Nah, in March she'll be 25.
Dang. Unless she was 25.
Don't make do the math, man. You went to Elon. I'm supposed to be saying that.
Man, I ain't got time to do all that, man. So, I went to Elon to play basketball.
True.
You see the shirt? Basketball.
But something cool happened today, actually. I think it was episode 96. We talked about Last Chance U basketball season 2. And there was a clip that we posted about a kid named Josh and how Coach Mosley, who is known for being, tough on his players, rightfully so, kind of expressed and, put out there that he didn't know that Josh had autism. And he had a lot of behavioral issues, on the court at times. And sometimes he didn't really grasp things, or he would just kind of shut down. And, Mosley would, say stuff to him, and he thought he just was another kid with a bad attitude. But he found that out, and he talked about how it kind of changed how he looked at him as a person and how he coached him, and how their relationship kind of, flourished from that point on. So, anyways, we posted about it, and he actually liked the post this morning. So, shout out to Coach Mosley. We're big fans of you, not only as a coach, but as a man and a father and as a believer. So we want to get you on the pod, man. We want to get you on the pod virtually, and if you're ever in the DC area, let us know. We need to get some people to tag him on, on some posts and stuff like that. But
clip this up.
Shout out to Coach Mosley.
East LA.
Yes, sir. We got.
Shit, we're gonna be out there. We gotta go out there for the summer for the Drew League.
Yeah.
So maybe we can connect.
Shout out to Mick too. That new Drew League merch is crazy.
It's crazy.
Shout out to Mick and the whole Hamilton squad. Brothers from another mother, almost probably literally same last name. But anyway, let's get into a quick hitter. I only got one for today. That's NFL playoffs.
Yes, sir, man.
And for those who don't know, I'm a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, and for a long time, that's been an embarrassing thing to say. All right, but I'm loyal. One thing about me, I'm loyal. So we were down.
27-0.
27-0. But I ain't gonna hold you. When it got to 24-0, I stopped watching the game.
It's crazy. Like as
I
soon as the
stopped watching
game
the game.
started, and I wasn't watching at the time I was driving, but it's like interception. I'm like, wait, the game just started. Like
It just
he
started,
threw 2 picks already. It ended up being 3 in the first quarter or first half.
No, he threw.
Obviously, the first half.
He threw. I think 3 in the first. It may have been 4
I think it was
in the
the
first. It was the first quarter. At least
I think
3
he
in the
threw
first
3
quarter.
in the first quarter.
It may have even been 4. It was 4 in the first half. I know that. It may have been 4 in the first quarter. But yeah, man, I thought. I mean, anyone. Nah, I don't. I'm not that emotionally invested anymore, to be honest with you. I kind of prepare for the worst.
I probably would have cried,
But
if that was my Titans. But I mean, unbelievable win, man.
I mean,
shout out to D-Ball.
yeah, we fought back, I mean, I've jokingly been saying the Jags making the playoffs was rigged. After that, I don't know, man. It might be rigged, man. I don't care, though. We got the Chiefs on Saturday, which I think we can get them, man.
Yeah.
Is it now, for ratings, is that going to be good for the league?
No.
Nah, but I think, like, from just a pure football perspective, I think we can get them. But we'll see, man. My Cowboys pick is still alive. I had Cowboys, Bills in the Super Bowl. That was my hot take. Cowboys got the 49ers, who has a rookie quarterback, so I think they can make something happen. And then Bills are playing the Bengals, which, of course, they are.
Yeah.
And I just feel like
I picked
there's
the
no
Bengals,
way I just feel like there's no way they're gonna lose that game against them after what happened. Even though
Bills?
I think even though it wasn't like anything malicious, I feel like they're gonna win. And then if we end up beating the Chiefs somehow, they're going to the Super Bowl, dog.
Wait, if you guys beat the Chiefs?
If we beat the Chiefs and then the Bills beat the Bengals, then the Bills are going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I thought
Bills
y'all were going to the Super Bowl.
No, we're not going to the Super Bowl.
I was like, hey, more power
So
to you.
my Super Bowl pick is still alive.
It is. Same with mine. Eagles had a bye, so we'll see what they look like. I know you're waiting for they play Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday. Third time's gonna be the charm.
Yes, sir.
I got the Giants.
Yeah.
Yes, it's tough to beat a team 3 times, but I still got the Eagles. I think the Cowboys, the way their defense was just running around yesterday, like, they have a shot, like you said. That was a good point with Purdy, rookie quarterback. The Niners do have one of the best offensive lines in the league. Yeah. So we'll see how they hold up, but that's an interesting matchup. The 49ers they've had their number for years.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, I don't know. But, again, having a rookie quarterback in, they got a shot. So, I'm looking forward to it, man. That Bengals-Bills game, potential to be, like, game of the year. 2 of the best quarterbacks in the league. Great running game. Good defense. So, I'm looking forward to it. It's been a good playoff so far.
Yeah.
So, still wish my Titans were in there, but,
Stephon Diggs from Alexandria.
Is he really from Alexandria?
Yeah, he's from Alexandria. He ended up going to high school in, I think, PG County, but he's from Alexandria.
Really, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I thought he was like a DC kid.
Nah, he's from Alexandria.
That's a good segue because these fools. Never mind.
Yeah. So, this is a topic that's been near and dear to our hearts for a long time. For those who don't know, we're from Northern Virginia, right outside DC, and the DMV area has been known for as a hotbed for basketball for years, right? But historically, the Virginia side of the bridge hasn't really gotten the respect that it deserves. And that's not even including like the rest of Virginia, like the state of Virginia. Right. We're just talking about Northern Virginia. And because of, honestly, I'm just going to call it what it is. I think a lot of it has to do with demographically, we're more diverse. We're not predominantly black like DC and PG County.
Yes.
Because Montgomery County really doesn't really get the respect either, even though they got a lot of hoopers.
And Northern Virginia is, more affluent.
Yeah.
It's definitely demographics and, race as well.
Yeah, reverse. I don't know if reverse racism is the right term, but there's just been this misconception that Virginia players aren't as good as DC or PG players, or we're softer, or whatever you however you want to spin it, right? And me and him talk all the time about if Northern Virginia as a basketball community stuck together, because that's one thing that DC and PG County has. They're more unified, right, when it comes to them playing pickup together. They have a lot of people who hooped back in the day that are from that area, that were legends that stayed in the area and coach and train and do all those other things. In these men's leagues, they all hoop together. So they're more unified. Northern Virginia is more, everyone kind of has their own little like hoop clique, if you will, right? We're not getting the best Northern Virginia hoopers and going to not anymore. It used to be this way at like Nottoway and other places, but these days, you're not getting the best hoopers coming together to hoop during the summer. We don't have our own league. We don't have like a pro-am in Northern Virginia, which we want to help change. So,
why? Why do you think so? Like, why is there a disconnect, between these Northern Virginia players opposed to guys across the bridge?
I think part of it is because a lot of those players, that were the top players in the area ended up going to private school in DC and PG. So I think that plays a part. And then I think this Northern Virginia, it's not, we don't have community centers. We don't have rec centers like that where you can hoop together for free. So, it's tough. There isn't like a facility where, we're all going to get together and then let's all hoop, right? And I think part of that is racial, because to be honest with you, these gyms in some of these places, they don't want a bunch of,
it's economics.
Yeah, they don't want a bunch of young black kids, young black men, all coming together at one place and hooping. They think it's a recipe for trouble, right? Sometimes it is. I mean, I'm not gonna hold you, but in DC and PG, the people that are running those gyms, like in PG County, they have a lot of mega churches with basketball courts. Like they're opening up the gyms for them, right?
Mm-hmm. I would also add, politics, man. Northern Virginia is probably one of the most political areas when it comes to sports.
Yeah,
basketball specific,
yep.
Right? Like, and then you also add in, I think, the competition of parents too, and we've talked about this. A lot of parents, they want their kid to play the best of the best, so they're going to send them to a takeover, or they're going to send them to, Team Durant or whatever. So having that validation to say, my kid is playing with this team, they're playing with that team. When instead it's like, why not we just all band together? Because if you go from, like, at least how it used to be, in the northern region in Northern Virginia, there was at least like one Division One player on like six to seven teams. Like when I came up, for example, and I was talking to Coach Desmond, head basketball coach at South Lake. Shout out to Coach Des, and he actually tried to do that with Virginia Elite. And looking back on it, in my class, 2011 alone, I think there was 7 or 8 Division One players, and I played AAU with 2 of them. Actually, one of them, Carl Ziegler. Imagine if we all banded together, like what that team looked like. We would have been beating the team takeovers. We would have been beating the DC Assaults and all these.
That's not even including like there may be guys who are a year younger who could play up. In
which there was. Yeah. So, yeah, that really just kind of hit home for me because I'm like, man, like, you know, if we would have just had a Northern Virginia team, like, how good that team would have been.
And then there's other
to represent Northern Virginia.
And then there's other parts of the area that aren't necessarily considered Nova, but they're close. Like Stafford has a lot of hoopers.
Yeah.
Winchester got a lot of hoopers on the low.
Louisa County. You know, that whole Spotsylvania
County, Fredericksburg, like a lot of them come up here. Even like there's people from, I mean, they're not technically Virginia, but people from West Virginia.
Yeah. And the crazy part is though, like a lot of the players on these top teams are from Virginia.
Yeah.
Jeremy Rose, for example, he's from Leesburg, Virginia. Like, obviously he played with Takeover and PBI, but he's not no DC kid.
Luca Garza's from Reston. Tyler Thornton was from Reston.
Michael Benajay is from Richmond. Like a lot of these dudes aren't from DC.
Yeah, they're not from DC. You know,
and it's no disrespect to DC. It's just, again, like we have pride in where we come from.
Yeah.
So why not?
Justin Robinson from Manassas.
Yeah, Blake Francis. Like, so yeah, man. I mean, look, maybe that's something we get started with the goods, but yeah, again, we're certified over here in VA.
Yeah, and again, that's just Northern Virginia, right? Because here's what it comes down to. In like Virginia in general, a lot of people from DC and PG, they don't even really step foot in Virginia.
Unless it's Tyson's Corner.
Unless it's Tyson's Corner or Pentagon City, like that's it. So they go strictly off, you know, what they perceive, and a lot of them think that like
Eric Green, I forgot about Eric.
Yeah, Eric Green, yeah, another one.
Obviously, Scott Reynolds.
We can name. We had a ton and
ton of them. We don't have the superstars. That's the only thing.
Yeah, we don't have the Kevin Durant's, the Michael Beasleys. You know that's the main difference. But the reality is,
Justin Anderson.
They don't really interact with us like that. And then when we do go over there, whether it's in the Goodman League, the Brunson League, the Pitts League, whatever, the Pitts League's more integrated now with Virginia teams. And actually, since they did that, the Virginia teams have been.
Wasn't it a Virginia championship?
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, there was a couple DC, Maryland guys, but I think in the Elite Eight in the Pitts League, like six of the teams are based in Virginia. The first time they started really like letting Virginia teams play, not letting, but like when Virginia teams started coming over there, they won a championship.
Yep.
And a lot of the top scorers in that league are from Virginia. Like Troy, Dockett, Tick when he was playing. Like my man Dante Nichols, who went to Oakton. Glenn Andrews went to TC. People don't know Boo Jackson is from Alexandria. Yeah. Super Boo. He's not. He went to school in PG, but he's from Alexandria. So it's like we just don't. The thing about Northern Virginia is we don't. In Virginia in general, this isn't just Northern Virginia.
We're not loud about it.
Yeah, we do what we have to do. We don't say much. We don't have to talk. We don't. You know what I'm saying? We're just more chill and humble about it. But I feel like at some point we gotta let people know because this actually happened yesterday, I think. And this team isn't from Northern Virginia, right? And again, if we want to talk about Virginia, pound for pound, it's one of the best basketball states in the country. pound for pound.
Yeah.
You throw the Richmond 757 market, then you got even like where I went to school, that Roanoke, Danville, Martinsville, ton of hoopers out there. But let's just talk about like Richmond and the 757. Woodside, which is a school out of Newport News, who, isn't really known for basketball like that. They, at least not like, year after year. They beat Gonzaga yesterday. Gonzaga was number 1 in the Washington Post, and they're ranked in the nation. And Woodside had like 4 losses up to that point. Mm-hmm. But how often does a D.C. Maryland school play a Virginia school? It's rare.
Not very often.
When I was in high school,
nobody wanted to play me my senior year.
When I was in high school, Scotty played the Matha twice. The first time their team, Herndon's team, wasn't that great, but he had 55. And then his senior year, they should have beat the Matha.
Yeah, overtime.
They should, and they came and
he hit the 3 to send into overtime, right?
I don't remember if
at
he
Chantilly?
did. It was at Chantilly. I don't know if
he did.
I don't know if he had a 3 to send, but it shouldn't have went in though. Actually, either we should have won in regulation or we should have won in overtime. I don't remember exactly what happened, but
that game was packed, dog. I remember that joint.
But whenever Virginia, some of the best Northern Virginia schools play the other side of the bridge, it's not like we're getting smacked. A lot of times we win. My senior year, a lot of people don't know about this, but Stewart, the team we lost in the regionals, who doesn't have a basketball history like that at all, they almost beat Montrose Christian. They lost by like 6 points. Mm-hmm. So, that whole Northern Virginia is just man. Like when it comes down, and here's the last thing I'll say. I think what separates us, we can do all the flashy street ball stuff, right? We can do all that, but we also know how to play with structure, with IQ, with moving the ball, with setting screens, off the ball cuts, like all that. We can do both. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying they don't have that on the other side, but we've seen it when we play in these leagues against certain people, against teams that have predominantly DC, Maryland dudes. Like a lot of that stuff that they get away with against us, it's not rocking because we know how to hoop. We can hoop, but we're also basketball players.
Right.
So
put some respect. Put some respect on us, man.
Yeah, man. Shout out Virginia's for hoopers. Virginia's for hoopers.
Clock in. Clock in.
All right. So this is actually yesterday as well. Watching Sierra Canyon play this. I don't remember the name of the school, but Sierra Canyon is a school that LeBron James' son, actually both Bronny and Bryce James play for. And they played against Carlos Boozer's twins, which is a school based in Florida. I forgot what the name of the school was. But I'm listening to the commentators, and he was talking about a player. I think his name was Justin. I don't remember his last name. But he said he loves that he was a great player when he wasn't scoring. And the guy who was speaking at this time was one of like the top USA basketball guys who chooses like the high school USA, basketball selections. And I thought this was interesting, man, because I know we've talked a lot about different skill sets and intangibles that a player should try to master and things that they're going to need to succeed at the next level and even where they're at today. But it was cool hearing it from, a guy who's credible and certified like this. And I'd be interested to get your take on, what this guy said. So the other commentator asked him, what are the top things that he looks for in a player? But then he added like just USA basketball in general. Number 1 was passing. And
you don't hear that.
You don't hear
number 1.
You never hear that.
Did he like rank it? Or did he just say it?
I think he just said it, but the first thing he said was passing. And I mean, we ran a clinic yesterday, and we have been coaching and training kids in a team-like environment for a few years now, and that's not including like the summer camps we've worked. And I would say from up until like age 12, the thing I see kids struggle with the most is passing and receiving. Like the amount of turnovers that happen from literally not being able to pass. We're not talking about like throwing dimes. We're talking about initiating offense, or while you're being pressed, or after you pick up your dribble and you're stuck, right? And it's such an underrated skill because at the end of the day, being a bad passer leads to more turnovers, which leads to less possessions for your team.
Yep.
Being a bad passer leads to, your teammate potentially catching and shooting, or catching and shooting a layup, in time, right before the defender gets there or whatever, versus them fumbling the ball or them having to reach down low and then they can't get a shot off as effectively. So I love it because I see myself as a pure point guard. I love passing. I like getting assists more than I like scoring. And it was just cool to hear that. The second was IQ, which, is self-explanatory, but we talk about this type of stuff often, but I wanted to get your perspective because you may have some new listeners and it may be important for other people to hear it again. How do you get basketball IQ?
Great question. You have to play it. One. Basketball.
When you say play, what do you mean? Like, what type of setting?
Basketball is a 5-on-5 game, right? So
yep.
You have to play in a setting to where you're in a 5-on-5 setting. So that's number one. Obviously, you can do, 4-on-4, 3-on-3, 2-on-2, 1-on-1, and that's all great. But in order for you to play the game at a high level and actually learn the game, you have to play it, right? To develop your basketball IQ as a player. And then I think the second one is you have to watch it, right? And watch the team aspect of it. Don't just watch Luka do 85 moves into a step back. Like that's just a one-on-one move. But look how other guys are getting shots, right? Look how the team is screening. Look how defensive rotations. Look at how based on out of bounds plays, like how these guys are getting open, right? Look at how they talk to the ref. Like there's so many different things that you have to understand as a basketball player that will help boost your IQ, right? Like, man, why does Steph get so many open threes? Like, I wonder if players ever think about that. And part of it is, obviously Steph is great off the ball, but who's screening for him? It's typically like a Draymond Green or, Looney. So understanding, like, man, why do these guys get certain shots?
He also sets a lot of screens.
And he also sets a lot of screens, yes, thank you. So for me, man, it really comes down to those two things. Like, you have to put yourself in situations as far as playing the game. Because what's the best teacher? Experience, right? So you have to put yourself in a situation to play a game. So, again, if you don't have the ability to, go to a park and play 5-on-5, well, grab a buddy and play 1-on-1. And then grab some more buddies and play 2-on-2, right? And then eventually you might have a crew to play, 5-on-5, right? So, IQ, obviously you can't really quantify it. But again, there's so many layers to it, man. I think, to be honest with you, passing being the number one on that list, I would say the best passers have the best IQ.
And you can't learn how to pass if you're not playing 5-on-5.
Exactly.
Or at least 3-on-3. Because passing is 95% of it is anticipation. Literally, 95% of it is anticipation.
Yeah.
And then 95 may be high, but a good percentage is anticipation. The other part is execution. Like, are you hitting them on target?
Right.
Are you making the right kind of pass?
And then knowing, like, where to make the right passes to, right? So, hey, and it's situational too. Like, for example, we play in this adult league. Shout out to Brandon. Brandon hit like 2 threes in a row, right? So he's rolling. What do you think the next offensive possession should be? To try to get Brandon another shot. Me being a point guard and knowing, oh, he's hot, right? He just made 2 in a row. We're going to try to find him again. Guess what? He's probably not even going to get the ball. So what am I doing? I'm telling people off the ball, hey, screen for him, because selfishly, they're going to have to honor him. Boom, you slip to the layup, you're going to be wide open.
Yep.
Because, again, as a defender, right, you're all on your heels, and you're thinking, man, I can't let this guy get another shot off. So you're overplaying.
Yep.
So when you overplay, what does that do? And your screening gives you an opportunity for a slip, wide open layup, or another person's going to get open. So, again, that's just a small example, but understanding, why certain passes work.
Yep.
The situation of, hey, if I pass this into the post, right, and I'm getting like super nerdy here, but if I pass it into the post, right, and a double team's coming, selfishly, I'm probably going to get the ball back, right, because if he's a good passer and he knows what he's doing. They double team and I cut, boom, I'm wide open. I may have a layup or a kick out. So,
and you know what? Here's where the IQ and leadership comes in, because I've had to do this with certain teammates at times. I will tell them, hey, because you just scored 3 in a row in the post, they're going to double team you. Look for the opposite wing or watch me cutting, right? And the other thing is you have to also know your teammates' strengths, right? So if the guy who, just went off is more of a catch and shoot guy, right? I'm not going to pass him the ball and then put him in a position where he has to try to create off the dribble, right? I'm going to try to get in the teeth of the defense so that I draw that person and then kick it. Or if I just hit 3 in a row and I come off a ball screen, I know that they're going to try to blitz me. So I'm going to be looking for the roller, or I may even tell the guy, hey, man, slip this because they're going to overplay. They're going to overly hedge. So slip this. But you're not going to know how to make those reads if you don't play a lot. Particularly if you don't play with guys that are older or better than you.
Literally about to say that. You have to play with people that are more experienced. Like, that's just a life thing, right? Like, I'm new to government sales, right? So that's my day job. I'm gonna connect with older people that have been in the industry for years because they know the ins and outs. Government, there's a lot of little rules and guidelines and compliance. Like, they know that type of stuff. They know the language.
Yeah.
So as a basketball player, again, play with older people because they know how to win games. They know how to set screens. They know, ultimately how to play basketball.
Yeah.
So, again, you got to be curious and seek that information, man.
For sure.
The
third one was versatility. So he said offensively, but he more so meant defensively. So he gave the example of, in FIBA play, when they're playing against these other countries, a lot of these other countries have guys that can do a little bit of everything. You look at the Jokic's and the Porzingis's, like, those guys can shoot, pass, and, dribble effectively enough to get to certain spots, right? So they want guys that can guard multiple positions and, have versatility to impact the game in more ways than one, right? But, again, it starts with defense.
Yeah.
It starts with defense. And in general, you want to be a versatile player, right? You want to be able to, be able to just like I said, make your mark on the game. If you're not scoring, whether that's facilitating, getting steals, whatever. But, in this day and age, you have to be versatile. You can't be one-dimensional. And if you are, you have to be the best at being one-dimensional, right? You got to be a specialist.
Yep. No, totally agree.
The fourth was grit and toughness. And this is something that, you know what? A lot of people say you can't teach it, but I think that's not true. I don't think that's true at all. I think you, what's the word I'm looking for? You can't force it on somebody. No. You can't make someone, hey, you're going to be the tough guy. But you can teach it, right? I'll give you an example, and Nico can attest to this. In practice at Herndon, shout out to Coach Whelan, Herndon basketball, got the hoodie on, and we just made a call to action to get him on the pod. But we would do this drill where you'd be in help in one line, the other line was on the wing driving hard towards the baseline. Whoever was up in help would step up, cut off the baseline, and take a charge. After that, they would roll the ball out, and you had to try to save the ball before it went out of bounds. You had to dive, right? Like, stuff like that. And it was a way to teach toughness and grit. In college, we had this drill where there's 3 guys on the court. You have to score 3 times to get out of the drill. They can do anything except hit you in the face. Right? But that's more so on the physical end. Honestly, where I think you can teach the most is on the mental end. Right? Playing through mistakes, playing through adversity. And that's where coaches can develop scenarios in practice. Trainers can develop scenarios in training where you can foster an environment where they have to overcome adversity. So it can be taught, but there are some kids who just have it, for whatever reason. And the reason why this is important to me is because it shows that they're reliable through tough times.
Right. No, you covered it on all cylinders. I think for kids that are looking for like a way to just develop mental toughness is at the end of each workout, challenge yourself to make 10 free throws in a row. I can't tell you how many times where I've been in the gym for like 30 minutes because I just couldn't get 10 in a row. Like I'm talking like you make 9 and then you miss the 10th. Like that's gonna challenge you and it's gonna piss you off. But if you can get over those little hurdles and say, hey, man, I made 10 in a row come game time, like it's nothing. You're building that mental toughness. And again, it's a subtle thing, but trust me, try it because obviously you're working on your free throws, but I would say 95% of free throws is what? Mental.
It's mental, yeah.
So just a little action item for you guys to try out.
For sure. The last thing was body language / resiliency. I mean, this is something that, to be quite honest with you, I've struggled with, throughout my life because I'm a very passionate, emotional player. Sometimes my body language isn't the best or hasn't been the best. Sometimes it's been very good in certain scenarios that help the team. But, he talked about how do you look when you make a mistake? How do you look when your teammate makes a mistake? How do you look when you're on the bench? How do you look before the game? How do you look after the game, regardless of the result? Right? Like, they're really looking at everything that you do. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be an extension of, in this scenario, the country. But at any coach's scenario, you're an extension of them, right? And Austin talked about, as coaches having a certain standard and having a certain identity that you stamp your team with. And if players don't have good body language or they're not resilient, to me, that's a testament of coaching to a degree, right?
And you said it. These coaches watch film. So I can guarantee you when they're after a game, when a coach is literally going right to their laptop and they're watching and reviewing the film, they're looking at your body language. They're looking at the bench. Because I've lived it. In a film session, it wasn't me, but one of my coaches called out teammates in film and said, hey, watch this guy after this play. Heads down, sulking. Or even another player gets a dunk or a layup, and he's not up clapping. So they're watching, man. And kids might be wondering why I'm not playing. Well, when Johnny took that charge, or a player, and I posted this the other day, a player's on the ground and you're not sprinting to pick him up. You're just, trying to fix your socks, make sure your shoes look good. You're not sprinting to pick that player up. What is the coach going to do? Oh, okay, I'm taking mental note of that. He's not about the team. He's about himself.
Yeah.
All this stuff matters. And like we said before, this has nothing to do with scoring the basketball.
None of this had anything to do with scoring, except for passing so that you can help someone else score.
But nothing about, like, putting the ball and shooting. No. The only thing I would add to this is being a good screener.
Okay.
That's the only thing I would add to it.
Yeah, because
that's something that us as trainers, we don't teach little stuff like that, enough. Screening and passing. Like today, I was training a kid. He actually had a game tonight, and about 7 minutes, we're just doing chest passes, wrap around one-handed passes, pump fake bounce pass. It's not sexy.
Nope.
It's not sexy at all.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, when he gets in a game and he needs an opportunity to pump fake and do a wraparound pass against a defender, he's going to be used to it because it's muscle memory at this point, right? And then defense is another one that trainers we need to do better at, as far as teaching them how to properly defend different scenarios, different rotations, and things like that. But ultimately, man, that's a great list. I'm glad they were able to communicate that, because I would hope a lot of high school players were watching that, right? So they could give, some instructional feedback to them.
Right. And the last thing I'll add, and this is really in relation to the body language and resiliency, as a competitor, whether it's on film, whether you're on the bench or you're in the game, you should be studying your opponent's body language. Again, we've talked about it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as we know, as soon as
happened this past Sunday,
as soon as
it was over,
we punch a team in the face, or we start to see certain things, pouting because they're not getting the ball or whatever, them getting upset at the ref, it's over. We got them.
We need to put together a list of like things like that to look out for in the game that have nothing to do with scouting report of like the actual like schemes, plays sort of thing.
If I'll give you an example, if a team is pressing and a guard or point guard isn't trying to get the ball, I know they don't want to dribble, or they're afraid right now, right? So I can see that stuff. If I make a tough shot on you, right? What's your body language? Are you like? Because if you are, then I'm gonna go right. I mean, I'm still gonna go right back at you, but I'm definitely gonna go right back at you.
The dynamic of like the two top players, right? Like, are they playing off each other, or are they like, all right, he's getting his shots up, I need to get mine as soon as possible.
Yep.
Little things like that, man, you can pick up if you have the right mindset and pay attention to it. What is that attributed to? Number 2 on that list is IQ.
IQ, yeah. And the last thing I'll say is, does a team or a group of players come out with certain energy out the gates, or when they're winning? And is that energy the same when they get down or when the game's close? So I know a lot of players who are front runners, when they have that confidence early, or they feel like they're better than a certain group of players or a team, they're confident, right? But when the game is tight or when they're down, they don't recover, right? So there's things like that you should start studying, and you can test this stuff out in 1-on-1, in 3-on-3, right?
In practice.
Yep. Last thing I'm gonna actually gonna play this. It's a video that I think Walt's
did. Walt's in it.
And we're not gonna touch on it. I think it's just a great way to to end the podcast, and it's about how to get your kid interested in a sport. Because I feel like we as parents, especially in this area, we force it, right? For our own agenda, whatever that agenda is. And there's a guy who's a golfer, I forgot his name, but they're doing like a Zoom or virtual podcast, and he's talking about how to get your kid interested in golf. Then he ends up talking about, just in general, right? Whatever you're doing, in particular sport. So I'm going to pull up this clip. And
Padry Harrington is his name.
Yeah, I think he's Irish or something.
Yeah.
All right, so here it is.
Starting your kid, grandchild in golf, bring them to somewhere that you're not stressed, because that, they'll pick up on your stress if you bring them to your formal golf club. Bring them somewhere that you're not stressed. Bring them home before they get tired. In the middle of it, say they have to go, so that they want to go back. And the third thing, which I think is the biggest thing if you're getting your kids into the game of golf, when you finish, you'll go spend 10-15 minutes on the way home. Either go into the clubhouse and sit in the bar and have a Coca-Cola, or go have an ice cream with your son or daughter. They'll remember that for the rest of their life. And every time they go play golf, they'll actually be remembering the 15 minutes of their own time with their parent. Every time they play golf really is what they're remembering, is that happy memory of their one-on-one time with their parents. Most people with sport time seem to want their kids to be good first. And the problem is, if they're good first, when they plateau at some stage, everybody plateaus. Doesn't matter if you're throwing a baseball or whatever it is, you will have a stage you plateau. And if everything is dependent on being good and you plateau, you'll give the game up. Whereas if you really love it, the plateau won't be the end of the world. You'll figure a way out through it. Starting your kid, grandchild in golf.
Yeah, that's big. So some of y'all need to hear that, and that's good guidance for me as my son gets older. So episode 98, we got 2 more episodes before that 100 mark. We got something special hopefully coming soon that we can kind of loop y'all in on as far as what we're gonna do to celebrate. But we'll see y'all next week. We appreciate all y'all support, and as always, clock in. Let's get it.
Clock in. Clock in.